drifted back to Sandy Carroll, the only woman he had known Drake to love. Sandy, known for her skills in martial arts and marksmanship, had been the only female Marine who had come close to becoming a recon. Ashton, Trevor, Sir Drake, and Sandy had often teamed up for various coveted missions and had become known among fellow recons as the Fearless Four. The last time the four of them had been on a mission together was that time in Haiti. American dignitaries had gotten kidnapped and held for ransom by a drug cartel. No one had known the entire thing had been a setup, orchestrated by a drug lord and psychopath by the name of Solomon Cross. Cross's and Drake's paths had crossed 2 years earlier, when the Marines' Special Force unit, headed by Drake, was sent to destroy Cross's laboratory compound. During the course of the fighting, Cross's wife, Maria, was killed. Solomon Cross blamed Drake for Maria's death and vowed to uphold his principle of an eye for an eye and destroy any woman whom Drake ever loved. Cross kept good on his vow when he found out about Drake's love for Sandy and had made sure that she was killed on that mission in Haiti. Drake had never gotten over what had happened to Sandy and vowed to one day get the man who had been responsible. But now it seemed that Drake had given up the will to live, to fight, to survive. His love for Sandy had been strong, invincible, and a part of Drake had died with her that day. The only thing that had kept him going was his need for revenge. And now, Drake was dying a slow, agonizing death. He had finally gotten his death wish, but Ashton refused to give up on his trusted friend, a man who had been there for him in some of the toughest times, a man who, on more than one occasion, had saved his life. He, Drake, and Trevor were as close as any blood brothers could be. Ashton checked his watch. Trevor had left to go take a shower and would return in about an hour or so. Both he and Trevor had decided that no matter what, they would remain with Sir Drake until the end. Knowing what doctors said about comatose patients retaining their ability to hear in some situations, Ashton sat down in the chair next to the bed and started off by talking in the only way he knew how to the rough and tough former Marine, straightforward, blunt, and to the point. "Damn you, Sir Drake, you jaded ass. What the hell were you trying to prove in Tikrit? You should have waited for backup instead of doing your own thing. It's a wonder you didn't get your damn head blown off instead of just a few bullets in your hide. What if I hadn't had a vision and knew just where to find you?" he asked harshly, thanking God for the special gift he had inherited from his blend of Cherokee Indian and African American heritages. Ashton's voice then softened. "If I didn't know better, I'd take things personal and believe you're trying to get out of being godfather to my sons, trying to pass the responsibility off on Trev." Ashton smiled when he thought of his wife, Nettie, who was back in Houston and presently pregnant with triplets. It had been 2 months since he'd left her to go to Iraq to join the Special Forces. Instead of flying out of Baghdad to return to Texas, he had flown to D.C. to check on Drake. "Nettie is doing fine with 3 more months before delivery time. You ought to see how beautiful and radiant she is, pregnant with my sons. And she'll expect you at the christening a couple of months after the babies are born, so you'd better get yourself together." He shifted in his seat. "I guess I'll bring you up to date on all the babies that were born since we last spoke. Clayton and Sanita had a daughter, who they named Remington. Jake and Diamond had a son, who they named Granite. Kyle and Kamara had what everyone hopes is their final child, another son. And Dex and Caitlin had a son who they named Gregory Jonathan Halston Madaris, which I thought was a hell of a lot of names for one kid." He smiled and shrugged. "Then I remembered Trev's son's Rio Maurice Nathan Grant is quite a mouthful. And speaking of Trev, he's also here. He went back to the hotel to shower, but will be back soon. Oh, and his sister Gina got back with her ex-husband Mitch, and they're expecting, so Trev's parents are excited at the idea of becoming grandparents again."